In the mental health world, we often use the phrase window of tolerance. I prefer window of capacity, how much we're actually able to hold here and take in at a given moment. In this week's Parshat Vaera, the Torah shows us what happens when that capacity becomes constricted. Hi everyone, I'm Chaya Parkoff, and this is ParshaRx, mental health prescriptions from the weekly Torah portion. Moses comes to the Jewish people with a message of redemption. Freedom is coming, and they are unable to listen. The Torah says they did not listen to Moses, mikotzer ruach, because of shortness of spirit. The Ramban, Nachmanides, explains that this was not a failure of faith. It wasn't that the people didn't believe in God, and it wasn't that they were rejecting Moses. Rather, they were experiencing impatience of spirit, a state in which the soul is so burdened that it cannot tolerate even one more moment, even if it knows that relief will come later. They were afraid. They were living under the pressures of Egyptian life. And in that state, Ramban says they could not hear or consider Moses' words. Not refusal, not rebellion, no capacity. The Torah isn't criticizing them, it's naming a human limit. Rav Samson Raphael Hirsch describes what that inner state does to a person when the pressures of life become too heavy. All of a person's energy is spent coping with the present moment. There's no patience left to listen calmly. Even good news can feel like too much. That's mikotzer ruach. In today's language, we might call this nervous system overload, when all of our energy is spent coping with the present while the weight of unprocessed pain is still being carried. That's when the window of capacity narrows, not a lack of faith, but a lack of inner space. Hasidic teachings, like those of the Sfas Emes, speak about redemption in terms of vessels. Light may be present, but if the vessel is tight, the light can't get in. And Parshat Vaera tells us exactly where the tightening is happening. Ruach, breath, spirit, when the pressures of life weigh us down and the past hasn't yet had a chance to be processed, the part of us that can listen, reflect, and take in something new goes dim. So the very first work isn't understanding or reframing or forcing hope. The first work is breathwork. Breathwork is how we begin to widen the window of capacity. It's how we create just enough inner space to stay present with what is and to know that this is not all there is. This is the doorway into a way of responding to life that I teach more fully in my RSVP method. But Vaera gives us the prescription before the method. When impatience of spirit takes over, when the pressures of life or the trauma of the past feel like too much, the most important thing is to breathe, not to fix, not to rush, just to make some space for something new to enter. So if you're in a moment where even if you believe deeply, you feel overwhelmed, stretched thin, or unable to take anything else in, this Parsha is telling you, you are not broken. Your faith has not failed. Your window of capacity is simply narrow right now. So what is our ParshaRx for Vaera? When the window feels too narrow, breathe. Shabbat Shalom.